What was one of the biggest controversies of 2014? Ebola. The first circumstance of Ebola that happened in 2014 took place in March in a small West African village. According to researcher Rina Patini, by the end of November 2014, a total of 15,935 confirmed, suspected, or probable cases of Ebola and 5,689 deaths from the disease had been recorded. Ebola is a rare, life-threatening disease that affected many different countries starting right around West Africa. The disease soon made its way over to create many scares in the United States and had citizens everywhere freaking out. But why were they freaking out so much? This was not the first time that disease had been a threat to the world. In 1976, Democratic Republic and Sudan both experienced a rare outbreak involving a deadly fever. This drastic fever was very unusual and nothing like they had ever seen before. This virus soon became known as Ebola and has rarely shown up in time since 1976. American researchers didn't even take notice to it until the virus showed up in the United States in 1989. There are 5 different cases of Ebola. All of these cases are named after the place around which they originated from. These cases all include Ebola Zaire, Ebola Sudan, Ebola Ivory Coast, and Ebola Reston. Ebola Reston was the first identified case of the disease in the United States. It took place right outside of Reston, Virginia. The disease was found in monkeys, who have now become a suspectable case to carry the disease. Ebola Reston is the only strand that scientists believe could be airborne. This worries scientists because it makes the disease much more probable to become much more contagious. The incubation period, which is the time that the virus can develop, lasts anywhere from 2 to 21 days. Symptoms include fever, chills, headache, muscle and joint aches, tiredness, and general ill feelings. The incubation period can also escalate and get a severe sore throat, start vomiting, and can even start showing signs of jaundice and even anorexia. How can this disease spread if it's so rare? Well, first, it can spread through contaminated medical equipment. It can also spread through accidental needle sticks and unprotected contact with any infected body fluids such as blood and saliva. Scientists worry that this disease can be spread through travel. Since the incubation period can last up to 21 days, one can get on a plane and be infected and not even know it. Once they're on that plane, they can infect anybody and everybody around them, and they won't know it until a long period of time too. This caused a world controversy when the outbreak of the disease returned in 2014. When Australia realized that the 2014 outbreak was the worst that had ever hit, they cut off travel from any West African countries. This began to cause a controversy against the regulations of the World Health Organization. The World Health Organization had set out travel regulations for any upcoming world epidemic. Although Ebola was not proven to be spread through travel, so this was against those regulations. However, the United States was not only worried about the disease spreading, but they also thought that it could be used as a bioterrorism threat. The United States was suspicious that countries would begin to place infected patients on planes with American citizens, and it would eventually cause an outbreak in the United States. Because of the scare that this could be used as a terrorist attack, the United States had spent $26 billion on biology-related research for biodefense-related programs. Ebola is near the top of the list of these programs to help find a cure to prevent harm for other countries. Canada also thought that there was a need for this biodefense, and they spent $7 billion of their own money to benefit their research. Even though there is currently no treatment for Ebola, precautions are taken immediately for any suspected patient. The patient is put in gowns, masks, goggles, and even face masks, and then put into an isolated private room so that they are prevented from spreading it to any other citizen. Treatments also include giving constant fluids, blood products, and critical care as necessary. Although there is no treatment yet, scientists continue to look for vaccinations against Ebola. This disease can be a huge threat, although since it is so rare, not out to be a big deal as our society has blown it up to be.